Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here on the last day of August. Yes, we're going to close out. Excuse me. Not trying to cough here. Had bad allergies today. But anyways, good evening, everybody. Last day of August. And yes, we are still tracking a tropical wave that is headed for the Windward Islands. I did a morning update. That did pretty well. So thank you all for sharing that. It was worth it. It really was worth getting up at 6 in the morning. Yes, I've been up since 6 this morning with no nap, no sleep at all. And worst of all, before we really get into the tropics, I did not have a good day at work today. Let's just say that. And so, busy day at work, a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelming type tasks today. Oh, yeah, it was. I'm glad I'm home, and I'm glad I'm interacting with you all tonight. So your job is gonna make me happy. I'm already happy, but not so happy about with what we might be seeing here in the Gulf of Mexico. So there's two different sides of why I'm not too thrilled tonight, but I'm going to try my best at being a great person here at showing you all the tropics. Sometimes that's just how work is. Work can be very stressful, especially when you're working at a grocery store and just dealing with some angry people out there. So I don't know, maybe it's the holiday. Maybe people are just like, come on, dude. It's Labor Day weekend, and yeah, people are just like in a hurry to get their stuff, to get their groceries, to get their alcohol. Besides alcohol today, I counted 100 notifications today. 100 times that liquor thing went off, and oh my goodness. Yeah, we have to be there in literally 30 seconds. So if we're out in the parking lot, we have to run inside and get the liquor. Yeah. So my legs are already tired at that point. By the way, thanks Joe Corley, thanks Angela for the donations. Now we're going to get started here. So we're watching this tropical wave out here in the main development region. This is the area that everyone is still talking about. And boy, if it wasn't for the 18Z GFS model run, I would have probably not streamed it tonight. That was probably going to be the original plan, because when I saw the 12Z out, I was like, gosh, this is looking even less likely that it's going to even develop. And then, boof, we get the 18Z in, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. Going a little nutty on the Cat 5 intensity, perhaps, in the Gulf of Mexico. Which is why my thumbnail in this video does not explicitly show a tropical storm or hurricane. I'm not even forecasting that at this point. I'm just going to go with where Mother Nature wants to go with this tropical wave, because it doesn't know what the heck to do right now. And right now, until we get a more coherent circulation, until we really know that this is going to be a big problem, I'm going to have to tone it down on the thumbnails a little bit. Just because I don't want to call this hurricane, and oh wait, the last 4 model runs, it doesn't look like it's going to become a hurricane. I really need to be careful with how I talk and with how I kind of spread the word. So there's our tropical wave there, looking fairly organized. And when we actually zoom in, we're going to use Zoom Earth, because of course, until there's an invest, Tropical Tidbits is not too happy to provide some close-in, zoomed-in views. So instead, we are going to be using our Zoom Earth, which is a really good product that I highly recommend using. You guys literally have to go check it out after this stream. Zoomearth.com. I said that in yesterday's stream as well. Be sure to check this out. So looking at the circulation, actually, I'm going to go a little further back to 6 hours when we actually could have some daylight on this, because the low-level clouds are not visible, and they're not even visible on there. So we have to go out to 12 hours. I'm sure in 12 hours. There we go. There's some sun-like views of the low-level clouds, because once you get into infrared mode, it doesn't pick out those low-level clouds very well. and we actually have to use the low-level clouds to give us an idea what the circulation looks like. So as we look at this disturbance right here, you can definitely see still elongated. We have flow doing this. We still have an open wave here. So still a lack of organization tonight. However, there is a little bit more deeper convection on this that is percolating a little more closely to the center. So this is going to be very interesting to see with what this actually does. And if the 0Z GFS, once it gets rendered here in about the next few minutes, we will be looking at that live. But before we do that, though, we are going to also look at the 18Z run. But that's a look at what the wave looks like. And based on the current wind analysis, winds are about 20 to 25 miles an hour on this. So winds are definitely on the stronger side, more than what we thought yesterday, when at this time there were only going to be winds of about, say, 20 to about 15 to 20 miles an hour. So winds are a little stronger on this than what we thought. That does not mean it's a little stronger, but the wave pocket may be a little bit more healthier than what we thought last night. And that's all it takes. Nowcasting makes a better forecast. It rhymes. Forecasting or nowcast, forecast, right? So the National Hurricane Center does highlight a 40% chance. Man, this has been bouncing around 40%, 50%, 40%, 50%, now back down to 40% again. Really, that kind of says it all. I mean, there's literally a 60% chance that this doesn't develop and a 40% chance that it does develop, in other words. And this is that orange area of development that the NHC is watching now. Will this develop a little sooner? Very unlikely at this point. I think it's going to still be where I think it's going to be, in the eastern or western half of the Caribbean, where all that upper ocean heat content is. And then we really got to watch where this goes once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. There's still a lot of uncertainty. Does this turn to the north sooner and impact Florida, or does this turn to the north later and impact Texas, or will it just kind of go straight in towards southern Texas or the northeastern portion of Mexico? That is still to be answered in this live stream. All right, so 40% on that. We got rid of our other disturbance out there in the Atlantic. This is the 7-day outlook, so nothing out there that the NHC is watching other than that Caribbean system. And still, interestingly enough, that there is still a 20% chance in the next 5 days of our disturbance off the Texas coast. This has not gotten any better organized since yesterday. But still, nevertheless, it doesn't take a tropical storm or a depression to bring impacts. All you need is thunderstorms, and a lot of them, to produce rainfall and flooding over these areas. So keep that in mind. Probably no development with this, but still, there is those chances that there could be some slight development in the way we could be seeing some maybe tropical depression force winds at the very most, but not necessarily a tropical depression, if that makes sense. So we're going to just kind of go straight into the GFS and then the Euro, of course, the 12Z. That's what that actually shows. But when we look at the 18Z GFS, this is very different than what we were looking at yesterday. All right, so let's go to the greater end. Oh, wait, no, lesser. We need the lesser Antilles. All right, so here's the 18Z run. If we go back, look at that system. That's a lot more organized, right? It's very sharp. We have winds doing that. We looked at last night's run. Actually, we only get 3 runs on this for some reason, but 06Z run did not have much of that. And we go to the 12Z run, barely anything. I mean, again, a lackluster system. And then look what happened. Just look at the difference here on this model. 18Z run, folks. What in the name of Frank did the GFS just say? It says that there could be a sharper disturbance here. We will see if that pans out. This is less than 2 days. I want to be aware of that, folks. Less than 2 days. This is not a fantasy land type of format here. This is very close in time. I mean, this is Monday morning. Actually, to be specific, this is less than 48 hours because this model came out at 11 o'clock this morning Pacific Daylight Time. So as a matter of fact, it's less than 40 hours out. Less than 40 hours out. And if the 0Z picks the same thing up, we will see it is going to be a big problem. Much more of a bigger problem than what we had just last night. Because now the model thinks that, oh, this is what it's going to look like. The more organized this wave is over the Windward Islands, it's going to be more organized once it gets into the Caribbean. And who knows what the Caribbean could throw at us, right? So that's that. But let me zoom back out here on the Caribbean sector. And I was showing one of my colleagues this today, one of my coworkers at work, because I was showing her during my break time when this model came out. I'm like, can you, I'm going to run the 18Z model through, and you just look at this. I was showing her on the iPad. Can you look at it? I'm nervous. And she was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's that dark red color there? Oh my gosh, it's over the Gulf, David. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I looked at that and I was like, GFS, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, like, yeah. So let's play through that, right? So, and if I don't mention a lot of locations here, that's because there is a lot of uncertainty here. But in general, I am going to circle in general areas, okay? This whole entire area here, okay, that the NHC has highlighted, needs to be watching this system. So if you're in Cuba, if you're in Jamaica, if you're in the Cayman Islands, if you are in the Dominican Republic, like the Haitian Peninsula, Puerto Rico, the U.S. British Virgin Islands, probably not so much the extreme Northeast Islands, but you're going to still get impacts. But really Jamaica, you folks in Jamaica really need to be watching this, okay? Because there's a lot of uncertainty in the modeling right now that we really don't know. I mean, I wish, as a professionalist forecaster here, I wish I could tell you that this is exactly what's going to happen for Jamaica. You all are going to get a hurricane. But I can't say that because right now, one model shows this, the other model shows that. All right, so until simply this gets organized enough, when that happens, we shall figure that out, right? When it closes or when we get a more coherent circulation, models see that well, and then we can start seeing believable images that you're about to see here, okay? So the GFS model here has a pretty significant system. This is pretty compact, all right? And I wish I could zoom in a little bit more on this. Actually, I could, because this is the Greater Antilles sector. So we can see here winds of about 60 knots. That is close to hurricane intensity. And you all are like, Hurricane David? Are you threatening to say a hurricane in the Caribbean? No. I'm not trying to go that way. But based on the 18Z model run, if we just look at one model, what if that's the next model run, right? We got to always assume that. What if it is, right? This goes right over Jamaica. And it's a hurricane once it goes over Jamaica, perhaps. Barely a hurricane. Well, right on approach, maybe 64 knots. That's hurricane intensity. And then it goes over Jamaica and kind of gets washed away a little bit, but the circulation remains pretty intact. But what really strikes me about this is watch what happens when this departs, when this kind of leaves Jamaica. All right, this is for Thursday night and a Friday morning. So this would be the 5th and the 6th of September. So after Labor Day. This goes right over the Cayman Islands. And let me see if I can get a sector that is able to kind of fill in that area. Yeah, there we go. So the Gulf of Mexico sector actually does show it a little closer. Here is Grand Cayman right here, and here is the other Cayman Islands. That is 76 knot winds. If we go to surface wind, that's 81 miles an hour. So that is a hurricane on this model particularly. Now, it's probably not going to be a hurricane. Why I say probably not is there's not enough consistency amongst the models to declare this will be a hurricane in the northeastern or northwestern Caribbean. We're going to really have to wait for that 0Z to come out, and we're going to have to do the cycle all over again. The icon, I'm not really looking at the icon yet until we look at the Canadian and then the European model. Since I have no work tomorrow and I'm free, we will be looking at the European model tonight. So if you're just tuning in, 430 people are watching this. Make sure you invite your friends and family. It's going to be a great night at watching what each of these models do with this system, right? New data coming into our newsroom. So now once this gets into the western Cuban coast here, this gets very concerning. This is a 102 mile an hour hurricane. Okay, remember last night's run, we can't go that far back again. We could only go out to 0Z, but look at what it showed. It barely showed anything, and even the 12Z barely had anything. The 18Z, there you go, right? So really of a big difference here in terms of how intense this could get. And why this is important here is it gives us a realm of possibility. Now, a lot of you are like, but David, I thought it was going to go into the western Gulf of Mexico. No, maybe not. Maybe not. All right. So Aaron, everyone, I will be looking at the 0Z here in a little bit. All right. It's no purpose to kind of just look at it in real time because we want to digest the 18Z really quickly. But look how strong this gets. 106, 107 mile an hour winds on approach to Cuba. And then it emerges, and look how strong this gets. That's a 121 mile an hour hurricane. That's a category 3 on this run. And it still remains at that intensity here. Possibly a major hurricane in the Gulf. Possible because of the fact that we are still seeing that signal. It's appearing at least every 4 model runs. So it's a possible scenario. It's not out of the question. It's still on the table here that we still get something very intense into the Gulf of Mexico. But as you know, my title does state still watching. And that's because there's really no definitive answer if this is going to become a hurricane or not. Other YouTubers are still thinking that this will become a hurricane. I would kind of put the brakes on a little bit until we get more fine-tuned model data. But I'm telling you all right now, this could be a big problem. This really can. And I'm telling you, with upper ocean heat content, the GFS does not see things on a microscopic scale. All right, you got to understand, global models are given their name, right? They're looking at the whole world, and they're not really high res. Even so, the GFS has seen recent upgrades that make it a little bit more high res. We need to wait for those hurricane models to come out and show kind of something like this. This is more of a high res model. This is the HRRR model. This is more of a high res model. Okay, but the global models are not high res, or they're relatively high res, but not like mesoscale models where you could see maximum winds. So my rule of thumb of calculating how strong this could potentially get in the Gulf is you add at least 30 to 50 mile an hour winds on top of these values. So theoretically, this could become a Cat 4 or a Cat 5 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico. And besides that, this is under the Fantasyland hour. All right, hear that term? Remember last night we were showing maybe a major hurricane at 320 hours impacting Texas. This is 230 hours out. This is the 10th of September, the 9th, and we're seeing something this intense. So it is in the realm of possibility. I'm telling you, in fact, if we go back at looking at this, This is 195 hours out. So that is day 9 on this model. So that's not far. That's not very far at all. It's far out, but it's not like 384 hours out, in other words, right? So this is believable, but not very likely expected. It's not like there's 100% chance that 130 mile an hour winds or 150 will be in the Gulf of Mexico, but it tells us the ceiling, the potential that this system may have once it enters the Gulf. All right, so that moves on shore with still tropical storm force winds. So a lot of wind damage here. This would be a catastrophic situation, which, by the way, the Big Bend here likes to capture all the water with these onshore winds. So keep that in mind. If this makes a turn and it goes like this, you're going to get 30-foot storm surge easily in the Big Bend of Florida. That would be life-threatening to unsurvivable. So remember, Michael, remember, folks, some of the more intense hurricanes have been able to spin up very quickly here in the Gulf. This region is notorious for that. So that's why I think the GFS, we'll see what the 0Z run is going to show. All right. Wind gusts. So wind gusts, also a little bit more generous here because, again, it's not a high-res model here, but I'm guessing wind gusts here will be well in excess of 160 miles an hour. If you get 150 mile an hour winds, you can bet those wind gusts will be over 170 at this point. Surface pressures are believable at 940 millibars, so that's pretty low. That would give this a Cat 3, a Cat 4 intensity. All right, so that's what that is showing. Now, as far as rainfall goes for the Gulf of Mexico, good thing, it's one of the good things that this moves through very fast, relatively fast, but look at the path. Sorry, you guys, I might pause for a second there because, yeah, my food is digesting from my IHOP dinner that I had with my grandma. It was a great IHOP. Who has had IHOP before? Good stuff, good stuff. So, the purple area here, of course, offshore, 30 inches of rain. 30 inches of rain, yeah. That's a lot of rain for a system moving that fast. So, again, based on where it goes, right? So that's that. So now before we look at that, the rest of the GFS or the 0Z model that's coming in, what is the environment looking like within this? So for the 600 people that are watching, folks, you guys are awesome tonight. Thank you guys for sharing this, liking it, and subscribing as well. It really means a lot. It really does because, boy, I was like, man, I got to get home. Once I saw that 18Z model run come out, I'm like, gosh, I could have made a video on this. I literally could have released a video on this, but I was in the middle of work, and I couldn't leave work to do that, right? So that's why we're doing this tonight. All right. So 84 hours out, this is the upper levels of the atmosphere. So this is looking at about 36,000 feet above the surface. All right. And this layer is really important because it tells us what our winds are doing aloft within and around the system. And so here we have a lot of outflow. Okay. So we have winds doing this. So that's a warm core. Warm air likes to rise and it likes to spread out like a pancake, right? And so we are seeing that here. So a lot of divergent flow over this system. I mean, probably extreme divergent flow aloft in the Eastern and Central Caribbean. That's why the GFS really goes bonkers with this because of that divergent flow, which also tells us the wind shear now looks to be pretty light. And it continues to be that way. Look at not much shear at all. The upper level winds really light, and that continues even when this gets into the Gulf. Now, a lot of questions remain about the steering flow, which we'll get in here in a little bit, but there is westerly flow in the background coming in out of the west, hitting this system. So then we start losing the symmetrical outflow, and we start now inducing more of a lopsided asymmetrical to the outflow pattern that this lies within. But at the same time, this trough, and you'll see this on the 500 millibar steering flow chart, there's a lot of baroclinic ascent, a lot of outflow channeling right here. This is actually a pretty healthy setup when you think about it, because you actually get divergent flow in the left exit region of these storms. And so this is actually pretty formidable. This is actually a really optimal environment for, actually this could strengthen theoretically, even so there is some shear coming in out of the westerly direction, which I believe why Laura really took full advantage on its last 18 hours before landfall, because it did kind of the same thing. It kind of got in the way of that trough, and it really underwent baroclinic ascent, deepening. And baroclinic basically is, you know, you get isotropic lift, you get divergent flow aloft within a left exit region of a right front quadrant, like trophy like pattern. And this is what we're seeing. Background flow out of the easterly direction. This is pretty good. This is a very favorable environment for this system to actually thrive in. So now looking at the 500 millibar steering flow, this is very complicated. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk that this ridge may be a little stronger over Florida. If that actually happens, this could actually turn more westerly if it's weaker. But if it's actually stronger, it might just do this. It might actually continue northwest and then turn north earlier over the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico near Florida. Because when a storm strengthens, it doesn't use the 500 millibar steering flow as well. And besides, the heights actually weaken surrounding the system. So it actually controls what this ridge will do, which is why this system is moving to the west in the first place. But watch what happens by day 5. This ridge right here, actually, it's more about right in here, about 168 hours out by about 7 days. This ridge wants to still retrograde, okay? But the thing is, if our cyclone over here in the northwestern Caribbean is deep enough and this trough is further enough south, there could be a weakness still well established here over central and eastern Gulf of Mexico. That will not allow this ridge to really build westward as quickly, meaning that the system will not likely turn back to the west as easily, and it will likely just continue to go more towards the north like that. Actually, I did really well at making that arrow. Let's see if I'm right on that, right on this model. And you can see pretty much so. Wow, I got it zeroed in really well with my arrow. Nicely done by me, folks. See, you can tell I'm an expert at this. So that's what the ridge is doing here. But of course, the strength of this is the whole big factor. And you can just see right here, I'm going to highlight the 591 decameter height line. This is a topographical map. Looking at the previous model run, you can see a little further towards the east, but then the run before that a little further northwest, and then the run before that. So there is a lot of differences amongst this. And so it is going to be very critical to see what happens to this, because if this is weaker, it is going to go further west. If it's stronger, it is going to turn north sooner. So strength and depth of the vortex is important. So now, looking at the deep layer moisture plot, moisture, I feel like, is not a problem with this. I think we have enough moisture out there. The background state, I do feel like, is at the very least, marginally conducive that this system will organize to some extent. How more of that organization takes place remains uncertain, but we can look at our moisture plot here, and we can see our system down here in the Windward Islands. The green colors indicate a lot of moisture in the deep layer. So we're looking at about, say, 10,000 feet to about, say, 32,000 feet. So we're looking in a deep layer of the atmosphere above the 850 millibar layer, which relatively stays moist in the tropics. That's why we don't use the 850 to 300 moisture plot very often. But if we go forward, we can see right here, this is going to be well established perhaps. Look at that moisture column. Very conducive here. A lot of moisture to work with this system. The shear is going to be light. A lot of upper ocean heat content here. That is why this could have a ceiling that we have not seen in a long time, perhaps since Ian a couple of years ago when it went through the Gulf of Mexico. And hey, guess what? It only went through this portion of the Gulf, and yet that sucker was able to get to Cat 5 intensity. So that's why we're not going to turn our back on this just yet. Because look at all of that moisture moving into the Gulf of Mexico, that deep layer. Again, the deep layers of the atmosphere are my favorite layers because you can see that's full saturation. And if we look at our rainfall forecast, that's a lot of rain well out ahead of the system. Similar to where it was going to possibly go into Texas, where all that moisture is strung northward due to the southerly flow. Remember, we do have a jet that is going to pull this moisture northward even before your system actually, it being the wind, the surf, the surge, and the more coastal flooding impacts your area. Okay? So that's going to be the weapon with this. But again, how strong will it be? Really, we're not going to know a whole lot. And I do expect models going back and forth with this. We may see some runs that don't show anything at all. We may see some runs that do go crazy. The wind shear forecast, I'm looking very light on this run. Actually, again, what we're looking for is anticyclonic flow. Okay, anticyclonic vectors, shear vectors, not wind vectors, shear vectors. And as long as it's outflow, we're not seeing any shear at all. The shear is very light here in the next 4 to 5 days, probably less than 5 knots at times. And actually, it might be even less than 5 knots on some of these runs. But once it gets into the northern Gulf, the shear could pick up markedly, but with the help of baroclinic ascent, the shear may not allow enough weakening in time before this makes its way onshore. Okay, so that's why we are going to keep an eye on this to see how all these interactions with the trough, the ridge and stuff interact with the system. But right now, the shear looks very light for the most part, as far as what I can see, through the first week of September. So that's through the 7th day of September. We're looking at shear possibly less than 10 or so knots. One last product, and then we will be looking at our 0Z GFS, our most important of all time, our VIP run tonight. And then we'll be looking at our Canadian. So another way we could visualize this is looking at the PVU at about 200 millibars. So this is basically showing us where there's areas of negative vorticity and where there's areas of positive vorticity. So when you get orange colors, there's more shear, there's more vorticity in the deep layers of the atmosphere. That's not good for cyclones. Cyclones don't do good in that. What they do good in is with all this blue down here. And this blue is basically high pressure. The air is doing this. It's going all the way around like that. And this is a pretty good environment. And you'll see as this tries to intensify, notice this blue bubble. This blue bubble, anticyclonic flow doing this. This is air blowing outward from the hurricane. So in other words, you're witnessing a tropical storm, or if not a hurricane here, pushing anything away, troughs, any vorticity plots that are trying to encroach onto the system. This is basically a shield, a bubble, okay, like a force shield preventing anything negative to impact the system. This is bad. This is not good. This is very concerning if this actually comes to fruition. All right. It continues to radiate that outflow. Look at this. Over the Gulf, we have outflow basically in all quadrants. This is a very bad, concerning model run right here. All this blue is negative vorticity, high pressure, anticyclonic flow away from the hurricane. and then even perhaps maybe a little bit more cyclonically speaking. So actually, this is not a whole lot of shear. This could be like 20 or so knots or less of shear on approach to the mainland here of the United States. So that's what that run is showing tonight. And I'm not going to show you guys sea surface temperatures, but I'll show you the upper ocean heat content. But all you need to know is sea surface temperatures are recordly warm. We're in the mid to upper 80s, and sea surface temperatures are not a problem with this. In fact, everything is checking the boxes. So what I'm going to put here is I'm going to type up stuff, and we're just going to do check boxes. All right. So let me see if I can find my letter alphabet here. And so we're going to just type in here. So moisture, shear, sea surface temperatures. All right. And what else? Let's see. Moisture, shear, sea surface temperatures. Steering. All right. So we're going to use 4 of those, and I'm going to check off the boxes. And so we can kind of give a rundown with what we're looking at here. Okay. Because I like to be thorough with my discussions. You know, that's my job. So moisture, check. We have enough of that. Shear, check. We have low shear. Sea surface temperatures, check. Pretty good. Steering, though, at the beginning might be a little impactful. So we're going to kind of draw a line across, a squiggly line. So steering, maybe what kind of caps this in the short term, at least in the first 4 or 5 days. But once it slows a little bit in the northwestern Caribbean, then everything looks very conducive for strengthening, at least strengthening, maybe some organization, maybe some strengthening. All right, so let's look now at our 0Z. Are you all ready? The 600 people that are watching this live stream, are you all ready to see the 0Z run? 0Z, 0Z, here I come. All right, and you guys are going to be my coworker. I'm going to close my eyes. Again, a meteorologist, or not a meteorologist, but a weather expert doing this, I know seems weird, but I am too nervous. I am literally too nervous at looking at this stuff. I really am, and I'm afraid. I'm afraid to look at it. But I want you guys to look at it with me, all right? Are you all ready? Put ready in the chat. Okay, because I want to make sure you guys are paying attention here. I really do. Okay. What's up, TRG? Just a single deterministic run to fully forecast is never smart. This system is trending more and more west, leading to it having a higher chance of becoming weaker. Okay. All right, TRG, I understand. That's why we're looking at the latest run. All right. Okay. All right, here we go. But you know the ceiling. You know the ceiling with this, all right? If it's on a run, there's always a possibility, okay? What's up, corruption? So here we go. How does it look? 0Z run. This is the 18Z run. 0Z run. 18Z run. 0Z run. 18Z run. 0Z run. Ha! Lot weaker. And yeah, look at that. It's actually a lot weaker. So, oh yeah, this is a lot weaker. Way weaker. So that is probably a fantasy land run. So this is going to be weaker already. I can just see it. It's not going to be... Oh yeah. It's not even there. So that was probably a really bad run. That was a really bad run. I think that could have been a bad run, so we're not going to even rely on the 18Z, because now the trend has been this way for a while. Really, I mean, I don't know why the 18Z actually did that. I don't know why. So, Very interesting, very interesting. And that makes it more believable that the euro is probably not going to go crazy on this at all. Which I am really surprised. Well, I'm not too surprised by it because the deep convection is just not there. No sound, someone said? So it is, then again, it's very important to note that the NHC did push the AOI right to the beginning of the Gulf. It's still something to watch for the US, but saying a hurricane is likely seems premature. I agree, TRG. All right, good. All right. Well, again, TRG, the reason why we did use the 18Z run is when you look at a run, TRG, and it's the latest run, what are you going to think, right? Like, you're going to be like, I'm going to wait for the 0Z run to come out, because what if that was believable? What if that was the beginning of a trend, right? That's what we were looking at. But yeah, this is, look at the circulation way down here. So there, and that's just showing you that there's a lot of uncertainty here with this disturbance. There is a lot of uncertainty. And actually, I don't know if the models are going to get this right until it actually develops, which it may not. We may not know a good forecast for another 5 or 6 days. So yeah, let's see what the 0Z on Canadian shows, because that's already rendering. Yep, 0Z Canadian is a little stronger on this run, though. TRG. Do you see that, TRG? A little stronger, just a little bit. Not by much, just a little stronger. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point other than that it could still be a big problem. Interestingly enough, the icon wants to retrograde that system really far south. So, yeah. So that's what we're looking at right there on the model. We're going to wait for newest runs to come out. But right now, looking at this, this is still on the table. This really is. If it does come up through the Gulf, can you tell it to go away? I can try to tell it to go away, but I don't control the steering flow. I really don't. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, consider subscribing if you haven't already and hit the like button. You guys are doing really awesome, and also share this. Get this out to a lot of people. CMC has it going into Mexico. Let's see what the 12Z showed, though. Yeah, but look at, though. Look how strong. Again, a possible outcome. We'll see what the next run shows, though. We got to look at the latest. This is definitely a lot stronger, though. On this model, it is definitely stronger. So this is believable. We'll see what our Euro does. Our European model does in 1 hour from now. We will get a new update in about an hour. Should Jamaica be concerned about this? Right now, hard to say. It really is. But I would get prepared. I would get a little prepared, not super prepared, but of course get ready for some impacts like rain, maybe some breezy winds, that sort of thing. But to what extent will those impacts be? We don't know. We really don't. I do agree, Kristen. I don't know if you're still watching this stream, TRG. I don't know if you're still watching this. Let's see what the GFS does now. Oh, GFS still stronger than the 12Z run. Still stronger. Oh, way stronger than the 12Z run. So again, I'm looking at 12Z run and I'm looking at the 0Z run. So those are complete runs, more fresh data put into the models. And we can see definitely here, definitely a whole different story. Definitely different. We will see with what this actually means when it gets into the Gulf though. So this is still running, and this is still some news coming in right now. Yes, I do, Daniel. How are you doing, Daniel? Houston, Daniel, I would say right now there is a lot of uncertainty. My cone, okay, so if you guys see my thumbnail, when you clicked onto the video, it had a red area like that. Okay, and it was highlighted in this general vicinity. This is kind of the realm of possibility. So theoretically, this system could glide up this way and move literally into northeastern Mexico, or it can glide a little further north and then turn like that into the Big Bend. So theoretically, that's what our scenario is. Does this go into the Gulf? There's a 95% chance that it does go into the Gulf, but where into the Gulf, we don't know. And there's a 1% chance that this goes in some area. So there's a 1% here, 1% here, 1% here, 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 and here, and here, and here, and here. Okay, until we get more consistency. Okay. What determines on how hard it turns to the north? The depth of the vortex. So if your vortex is deeper, it's going to feel the more net flow of winds. All right. Which the net flow in this case is coming in out of the southeasterly direction. So if this was able to strengthen quickly, this would go this way. If it remains fairly weak though, it's going to feel more of a wind, actually more of a wind this way. So the system will likely go that way. All right, so that's really what determines where this goes. The deeper the vortex, the more it might be able to gain latitude. All right, so there is the latest run right now. And of course it's weaker, but it is definitely stronger. It is way stronger than the 12Z run. That's the more important one. And it's way stronger than the 06Z run. I mean, the 06Z run didn't have anything there. The 12Z, something was there a little bit. And then the 0Z run, definitely something there. So there is something, it's more notable at this point. What's up, Chase? How are you doing? Welcome to the stream, buddy. I hope you're doing great. Can you explain vorticity? All right, so what vorticity is in the atmosphere is its spin. There's a lot of spin, right? In fluid dynamics, you get spin. And actually, I got a good simulation that you guys are going to like. It's right here. So I know we're playing a little bit of a game, but this relates to the tropics. So imagining your barrier. I'm going to draw a barrier here. Okay. So I'm going to draw a barrier like that. Okay. So that's going to be kind of our land area. Kind of our wall is kind of like the Dominican Republic. So what we're going to do, bring that all the way down. Our flow speed, bring that down. And then what this is going to do is we're going to play it. And you can see, actually, let me, animation speed, there we go. So if we plot our speed and then flow lines and then our tracers, you can see there is vorticities. And so if I go and click on the vorticity, right here, plot curl, That's spin. So the redder the colors, the more spin you have in the atmosphere. So you can see another area of vorticity spinning up here. That's the spin that we're seeing, okay? And here comes another one. Another bit of vorticity is developing. So that's basically what that describes, what that, in fluid dynamics, that's what our models are telling us. So you're basically witnessing that. The redder the colors here, the more spin you have. Okay? That's basically what we're seeing. And right here it's a little pink. So that's 91 units of vorticity. You're very welcome, Shannon. So when we look at this now on a plot chart, you can see, yeah, look at this. This is definitely stronger. The winds are stronger, so that vorticity bundle is going to look a little more significant. So when we look back at that, you can see it right there. Interestingly enough, though, now it wants to slow it down a little bit more. It's not moving as fast. That is a little new on the model. And it is in the same area, so this whole area needs to be watching this right in here in that a little ellipse, because it was in that circle in the last 4 model runs. And here it is. This is a little bit not as strong as the 18Z run, but it is stronger than our 12Z run. You're very welcome, Golf Nut. So we're going to wait for our next runs to come in. What's up, Doggy Schiller? How are you doing? Hi, David. I live in Sarasota, Tampa area in Florida. What are the chances I will be severely impacted? Right now, there is a 0.5 to 1% chance that you could get impacted by this. The reason why I say 0.5 to 1% is because there is that inconsistency amongst the model right now. Based on the GFS. We will look at the Canadian here in a little bit. Actually, we can go ahead and look at the Canadian on our vorticity plot. All right, thank you. I heard you, yes. So the Canadian now has this way to the south, way down to the south, which is a possibility here. It is still a possibility. But we're going to wait for that GFS to fully render. Because again, when you think about which models are accurate on average, which models have the ensembles, it's the GFS and the Euro that both have ensembles that we could rely on to some extent. The Canadian, I don't think it does have a good ensemble. So a deterministic forecast is not enough to declare that, oh, it's been consistent though. I can say the same thing with the Euro. It's been consistently moving this into the Gulf of Mexico, right? But it is definitely too early to say, and that's why we're not bidding that this is going to become a hurricane yet, or any kind of system. But we're going to wait. The model is still rendering. The GFS is always slow to do this. What's up, Ricky? You work for Amazon? Nice. Nice. By the way, I want to say thank you for providing Amazon Polly. You know Amazon Polly, where you can type up stuff and it reads it out to you. No, I don't have a hard time reading, but I prefer to not read word for word. I like to have it listen to me so I can get a better grasp. So let's see now what it's showing. So this is still there. It is definitely a system. That is definitely a tropical depression at this point. But it's definitely not as strong as the 18Z run. But it is not far to the southwest of what it was before. So keep that in mind. Oh my gosh. Someone doesn't like being out in public. There's no tropical depression, Justin, Abnir. No, not near Texas. That is a tropical disturbance. There's barely any cloud cover, at least on the visible or on the infrared. If we go back, there was cloud cover, but it was really, yeah, look at this. There's barely anything there. So this is a very weak disturbance, really weak for right now. This has more convection than the one in the Gulf of Mexico right now. Oh, thank you, Amanda. I do appreciate that. I really do appreciate all the diligent support, folks. This has not been a easy forecast. It really has not been an easy forecast for me. And how I know that is after I make a video saying that there might be a hurricane or a tropical storm in the Gulf, one model run like the 12Z run comes in and it's like, wow, what just happened? There's nothing out here in the Gulf of Mexico. What did I even say in my video? Would I say that? This has been a very frustrating, challenging forecast. It just has not been easy. It has not. And I definitely want to thank you all for the diligent support through this hard period of forecasting this system, because I'm doing my best. I'm trying to be as accurate and honest with my forecast as I can possibly can. But when you get one model like the 18Z run showing that, and then you get the 12Z run showing that, and the 0Z run, 06Z run showing that, you could kind of see why it's not easy. It is not easy. And the Canadian is just throwing more things at me. It really is. This is further south, so it is very interesting. It really is. The GFS model looks bad so far. Okay, yes, I can see why you're saying it's so bad. Now we're in concerning territory here. This is now the second model run. And actually, this is about as fast. This is literally in the same area, in the same time zone or time frame. So this is now showing a 60-mile-an-hour tropical storm in the Gulf. Now again, I am going to be very careful. TRG did tell me I'm gotta be careful with what we look at here. But now the second model run, we have to be extra careful. We're now getting into that if this trend continues. Okay, it's about the trend. If this is on the 06Z run, if this is on the 12Z model run, then we can start saying this could end up happening. All right, but we're not going to say that now because we don't have the 06Z run out or the 12Z. That they don't come out until overnight tonight. But I did want to tell you all right now, 189 hours out, that's a 60-mile-an-hour tropical system. Not as strong. I want to make it clear, not as strong as the 18Z run, which had 96 miles an hour, but it's also only about 30 miles an hour weaker on this system. So remember, 0Z is over here with its run. You can see the wind field right here. And now look at the 0Z run. It is a little bit over to the left, not by much, but by a little bit. TRG, I don't know if you're acknowledging with what we're seeing here. Second model run, buddy. Second model run. So you're probably thinking now that, oh, all right, gotta watch this. We really do. Well, guess what, TRG? Can I just tell you something? Yesterday morning, the GFS was an outlier too. You know why it was an outlier? Because the Canadian, the Euro, and the Icon were both showing a tropical storm in the Caribbean. So this is probably an outlier until we get the European model in, okay? Once the European model renders, we'll get more better data, okay? We will. We'll get a little bit more of an understanding. I'm an Icon guy. Yeah, see, some people trust the Icon model. I don't know how the Icon model is more accurate than the GFS. In my personal opinion, I will look at that Icon usually third or fourth in the lineup. Okay, because I don't know. It doesn't have ensembles. It does not have a control run, so you have to believe the ensembles, and the GFS and the Euro are the only ones that run the ensembles, which is what I'm about to show you here really quickly. Okay, so if we look at this right now, this is the 18Z GEFS ensemble. TRG, I want you to look at this with me. You can see this is believable. This is. The Euro is further south. Okay, but look at some of these tracks still bring it into the Gulf. Look at this. There are two scenarios here, a scenario here and a scenario over here. Okay, and then when we look at the GEFS ensemble, you can see. So essentially, again, what my thumbnail really highlights is this area right in here. Okay, it highlights pretty much this area, which can theoretically get a possible strike, but it doesn't mean it will happen. Because yes, our European ensemble family is to the south. The GEFS ensemble family is to the north. Okay, so there's a split way tie here. There really is. So theoretically, this could actually go all the way down here, or it can go all the way over here. Okay. See what the latest GFS? Nope, didn't come in yet. But you can see this is actually going northwest. Now, I did want to make it, I don't know if we even have the Euro out from last night. Oh, we still do. We still do. I want to make it clear. Last night's Euro model, again, I'm not cherry picking here. I'm not trying to. Did have this system right over here from last night's model run. And here's the GFS, not far to the east. Refresh if you can. No, that's the latest frame. 21. Okay, so, okay, the GEFS ensemble is apparently rendering. Yeah, 42 hours out. Tropical Tidbits, what? They have a live ensemble? Where do you see that, TRG? Because I have not seen this before. Where are you seeing the ensembles on Tropical Tidbits? Oh, wait, yeah, because you're looking at the GEFS ensemble. There you go. I see. Oh, 102 hours out. Oh, wow. A lot of them are weaker. A lot of them are weaker this run. Interesting. Wow. A lot weaker. Wait, hold on. Yeah, interesting. 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 GFS normal run 2. What do you mean by the normal run? Probably you're referring to Tropical Tidbits website. Oh yeah, you're out to 210 hours. Boy, I thought Weatherbell would catch on to the Tropical Tidbits website. 964, okay. That's really strengthening in the Gulf. Yeah, 963 millibars. 963 millibars. Not as strong as the 945, but still 963. That's deepening pretty quickly. Oh, all right, TRG. Well, after all, your channel is Tornado Research Group. I love that acronym, by the way. TRG, Tornado Research Group. So we will actually look at this right now off of Tropical Tidbits since it gives us the latest frames. 956. We're down to 956. I mean, look at that signal in the last 2 runs, though. I mean, ensembles are going to help, though. See, I feel like the GEFS ensemble, now this is my personal opinion. TRG, you don't have to agree with me on this. Maybe if I'm right or wrong. I feel like the GEFS ensembles are more all over the place. They're not like bundled up like this, like the Euro is. So that's why I'm guessing. That's why I don't really prefer to look at the GEFS ensemble until there's a lot of members on it. Like this run, the 18Z run had a lot of members. But I really like to refer, personally, in my personal preference, to the I lost it. There we go. To the European ensemble. So we're getting new frames. We're at 222 hours right now. Now, I really shouldn't be doing this. I really shouldn't be. Boy, I can make like a little song. Do 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 do. Make like a song and like make a beat. Boom, 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 boom. 956 millibars, that is. Hour 222 hours. Or hour 222. Oh, 228. Oh my goodness, 949 millibars, 949. That is only 8 millibars weaker. 8 millibars weaker, and it is further south and a little bit more compact. But anyways, TRG, how are you doing tonight? I do want to thank you for that. Sometimes Tropical Tidbits, I believe Tropical Tidbits renders the model faster though. I want to see though with where it's at on our Weather bell. Yeah, weather bell is slacking a little bit. Literally 225 hours. Here it's 228. Which, by the way, on that run, it's 107 mile an hour winds already. So that is a category 1 or 2 hurricane. Thank you, TRG. I'm glad you're watching the stream. You're taking into consideration with my stream. That really means a lot to me. It really does. And actually, you know what? You helped me out tonight. I should not rely on the 18Z run, but each run that comes out that continues to show this, that 18Z run has a little bit more confidence put into it. Just a teeny bit. Still 228 hours out. I wonder what the wind shear looks like. Let's go back out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stay on this sector and look at moisture. Man, that's going to be a really strong hurricane, boy. All that moisture. Man, all that moisture being flung northward. A lot of moisture being flung northward with that. See what the wind shear looks like. The shear is a little stronger on this run, so that's going to play a role. 240. Oh my goodness. It is. Is it stronger on this run? Only 1 millibar weaker. Only 1 millibar weaker. 939 millibars. Man, that is a strong signal, dude. That is a very strong signal. Which, by the way, that could spend possibly almost 3 days over the Gulf. 2.5 days. The GFS is being consistent for once. Yeah, only for it to not be consistent. I guarantee you on the next run it may not be. Who knows? Elit's 8443. What is the chance for a hurricane in Houston? Right now, a 0.5 to 0.1% chance. We do not know where this monster is going right now until we get more consistency. Is that a Cat 5? Certainly close to it. Holy moly, this thing is a monster, though, when it comes on shore. Wow. Which, by the way, your low-level winds here are at 115 knots. So this would qualify it as a Category 4 hurricane. So knots, 115 knots is 130-ish miles an hour. So that would qualify this as a Cat 4 hurricane. But again, I'm putting little sense into this. All right, I'm just watching this as TRG is watching it too, right? He's like, he even said, I'm staying up to watch the models render tonight. That's basically what we're doing here on the channel. But 939 millibars, that's pretty low. That's pretty low. And it's only 1 millibar higher than the last run. Yeah, see, Johnny is watching the model run too. Okay, 944 millibars. 944 millibars as it gets really close to Louisiana. This would probably be a high-end Cat 3 or a low-end Cat 4 hurricane. Still a big deal, though. Look at this. And in fact, when you compare the 0Z run to the 18Z run, boy, that is not far. That is really close to each other. You can see the two dots. I'm going to rewind this out. Oops, my pin disappeared. So if we go and look at our 0Z run and put this in right here, and then go to our 18Z run and go back and put a black dot. See if I can get a little white screen here. I can't. But you can see the two black dots. That's the difference between two of those runs. That, I'm not saying this is consistent, but for a weaker system to start out in the Caribbean, that is still a potential. That is still a potential. So I am a little, I'm not super concerned right now. But it is something we got to take note of. And wow, look at the barrel clinic on this. Look at that interaction. Look at that foxtail right in there. That outflow, yee. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of rainfall. A lot of moisture being pulled northward with this. This is a big rainmaker and a big wind maker too. With that jet stream, that binary interaction with that barrel clinic flow right in there. Look at that. I mean, that's pretty... I mean, yeah, in the morning, which would be my morning. Yes, Rodney, we'll see. We shall see. If we get 4 models that are like this, then that's going to wake up people a little bit more and be like, yeah. And I bet you, I want to make a bet right now. Twitter is going crazy on this right now. I bet you people on Twitter... that didn't take... Oh, wait, no, that was the last run. So we didn't get anything in. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start the trailer. I'm going to just start and copy and paste and post. And be like, oh, 2 model runs in a row. I'm actually typing this. Oops. So I'm going to send this out. Tropics WX. There we go. So there we go. Go and check out my post, folks, because I literally post on it. I was probably one of the first people to actually post about it. So be sure to go check it out. Hit the like button. Get that out onto the Twitter algorithm, please. All right, any questions, anybody? We looked at our ensembles. So this is where the 18Z GFS wants it. We will look at the 0Z here in a little bit. We're going to wait for the Euro to come out, the 0Z Euro. But here is the strike area, strike zone. The strike zone is still in this area, is where that is. So we got to really watch it. Oh, got 4 likes on it, folks. So thank you all for liking it. I meant to put is. Why did I put is on there? Darn it, I can't re-edit the tweet, but that's fine. I put it if. Oh, wait, is the GFS onto something. There we go. That's a little bit better. So, but that's the 18Z run. This is the 0 or the 12Z Euro ensemble forecast. And as we can see, still some tracks that are fairly intense. And guess what? Our GFS is right in this area with most of these ensembles. So it is worth noting that we're not going to ignore that. Not that I want to hype things up and scare you all, but again, second run in a row. You can't take that very lightly. You just can't. Especially when it does forecast a 119 mile an hour hurricane. Yes, right down here on the plot, it does have 119 mile an hour plot. Round up the 9 to a 0, you get 119 miles an hour. So that is a concern right there. That really is. And we go forward, it makes landfall potentially almost at or close to a major hurricane. So I don't like those. Yeah, that 933. Oh, yeah, there's two 933s. I didn't even see that. Boy, someone's got really good eyes. I don't have the best vision. No, I actually do have good vision. I just did not end up seeing it. But yeah, 933 here and here. Even a 953. So we really got to be weary about this. We really do. 3, really aggressive. 945 down here even. We'll see what the 0Z European ensemble shows. Let's see what the Canadian shows. Yeah, that's well into Mexico. That's well into Mexico. But we'll see if that actually ends up being the case. We'll have to see. How likely is Tampa to get hit? 1%. 1%. That's all I'm going to say. 1%. But the fact that the GFS has been more coherent, we'll see if the Euro is. If the Euro trends stronger, maybe they'll bring this up to 50% for tonight. But looking out there in the tropics over the next 10 days, we got to watch this one too, though. This GFS wants to pick that up still. That's the next one, I believe, that could get assured. And then we got another wave right here. But hard to say when you're only 300 or 276 hours out. But yeah, tropics trying to wake up a little bit. Trying to wake up. What about Mobile, Alabama? Right now, Mobile, Alabama could get quite a bit out of this. Actually, that's right over Mobile. Could get some very strong hurricane force winds. Well, if that's a Cat 3, then it's really a game over situation for Mobile, Alabama. But again, right now, I'm not putting much scent into this. There's very low confidence. But 2 runs do help out a little bit at shining some darkness onto the forecast. Darkness as in bad. That there's a little bit more consistency. That this could go a little crazy. It could. Mobile. It's Mobile. I thought someone. I learned this from someone else that it's Mobile, but it's Mobile. Okay. I'm really curious what satellite would look like on this, but the satellite imagery doesn't go that far out into time. Let's see what the moisture looks like. Yeah, there's even a little bit of a eye-like feature even on the GFS. And even at 200 millibars, that is pretty notable right there. So, yeah, that is a system. That is a nasty system. That's that could really cause problems if it comes to pass. Do you notice that the boot of Louisiana gets a landfall? The boot potentially, oh yeah, right there. Yeah, so it could be a landfall. But again, that's like predicting a needle in a haystack. I'm not putting much effort into that prediction. But if it did, yes, I do see that in about 10 days. Which, by the way, this is about, right here is about a little over 7 days out. So this is a possibility. It's not fantasy land. It really isn't. Yeah, I'm hoping the hurricane models will get on top of this, but that's up to the National Hurricane Center. I don't have the say on when those models render. It all depends on if the system is, they probably will start rendering on it maybe in a day or so. I'm hoping they will, because then we'll get some light shined on it. But those models only go out to 5 days. So we would not see anything in the Gulf once those render, or if they did render like tomorrow, it would not be in the Gulf in 5 days. So they probably won't do much on it until it gets probably over Jamaica. Will the Northeast going to get flooding out of this? Golly, Ward, you're asking a 300-hour question. 300-hour question. I mean, predicting the hurricane in itself is really complicated. Predicting will the Northeast get flooding out of it is like a whole different ballgame. But right now, the extreme Northeast on this run does not look to get a whole lot, like New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, as well as Massachusetts, Connecticut does not look to get a whole lot of rain out of this. But again, that's just one run. That really is. And that's the 18Z run, by the way. This run does not show as much either. So, again, once it gets closer, you'll be the first to know. What's up, Daddy Devil? How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. I want to thank you all for supporting the stream this far. The work that I've done over the last couple of days at keeping you guys updated on this. Even during work today, it was not easy. Also, just the stress. I mean, I am so stressed out about this system. I really am. I mean, believe me, I am as frustrated as you guys are. You know, like, man, when are we going to get a signal on this? Like, where's it going to go? When is it going to develop? Or is it going to develop? You know, I am just, you don't know how much time this is consuming of my life right now. I'm not joking when I say that. I mean, like, today in the break room, I was looking over some of the models when I was on break, when I was on my lunch. I was going to make a short today, but models were not aggressive at the time. So that's why I was not able to make a short. I will try making those if necessary. Like maybe tomorrow morning might be an opportunity for a shorts if some of the models continue to get aggressive. Okay. So, yeah, I do dedicate my time into this. I really do. And I love tracking these kind of things. It's always interesting. It really is. For the meteorologist, for the forecaster, it's always interesting how these things develop and how they go through their life cycle and back down to a remnant low, you know? It's just always interesting to see the life cycle. It is very bad for the people that have to deal with it. But for us as weather people, this is always interesting. We always learn something new with a hurricane. There's never a period we don't ever learn. So, yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing. We are almost to 26,000 subscribers, folks. So thank you for slapping that subscribe button. Also, just a general heads up, make sure you hit the bell notification icon. Yes, where it says all notifications, so that way you get the latest updates. Where it says all, not personalized. If you click on personalized, you might get just a few videos at a time throughout the week. But if you hit all notifications, you'll get notifications when I go live, when I release a video, a shorts, a blog post. All right, I pushed out one of those blog posts today. So if you haven't subscribed, do so. And if you do, hit the bell icon, and also give this live stream a thumbs up. Thumbs up, 7 up, folks. You guys are awesome. We're almost up to 300 likes, and I mean, that's amazing. That really is. So I want to say thank you, but I need you guys to say thank you to me for providing this, right? It kind of goes hand in hand. You say thank you to me, I say thank you to you. It's kind of like that. And I want to say thank you to TRG Tornado as well for tonight too. Weather, WXN weather, he says this will be a Florida storm, looks like. The very least, the panhandle that though should push it more to the east as it gets into the northern Gulf, as shall see. Yeah, so again, does this hit Florida? The chances of that right now are a 1%. Okay, and a 1% is a fail safe, which means that if this doesn't develop, it's a good thing that I did say 1% of it, because the 99% is that it won't hit Florida, but there's that non-zero chance that it does hit Florida, if that makes sense. So that's why right now, if this thing would have been very consistent, we would have had a little bit more eye-opening on who could get likely impacted. But because one run shows this, the other run shows that, we're not getting a clear idea yet on how this is going to pan out. We really aren't. You're very welcome, Joseph's Vlogs. I appreciate that. We should all be prepared for sure. Exactly. Hey, you know what? Be prepared. Don't be scared. And don't be scared. Be prepared, because it's better you get prepared in the long run than saying, oh, I'll just wait for tropical storm force winds to arrive within the next day to get prepared, because it may be too late. Make sure you have your generator going, or make sure you start it up. Make sure it starts and it generates enough power. All right. This is just, I'm not fear mongering. I'm not scaring you all, but it's always good to run your generator to make sure it works, right? Because if it doesn't work, then you have that opportunity that, oh, I got to go to Lowe's or Home Depot to get a new generator, or I have to order a new one off of Amazon, right? Because maybe what if your generator doesn't work, right? Then you have that time. Versus if it does work, then you're in good hands. But also run it for a while. Check the oil, check the gas in it. Make sure your food is non-perishable as well. Just kind of go through the checklist. It's like an exercise. Think about it like a fire drill. Pretend a hurricane is coming in 2 days. Go through the checklist. Make sure you have your food, non-perishable food, your health documents, your bank statements and documents, your generator, make sure it's working, and any very important things you have, make sure you have those as well. Ready, in a designated a get-go kind of situation. Save a portion of your house to put all of your documents, all your personal information and stuff like that, including non-perishable food. It really does help out. It does. Believe me, I'm organized as it is. I put all of my work stuff in one area. So when I'm ready to leave for work, all I have to do, get my backpack on, put on my shirt, get my name badge on, and go off I go to work, right? Instead of just sitting on my computer barefooted with no socks on, just hanging around, just not knowing that I need to go to work, right? David, I hit 400 subscribers tonight. Woohoo! Also, thanks for the coverage. Congratulations, Lucky's Weather. Whoa, Ethan is here. Oh, gosh. Ethan, are you up to helping me stream tonight a little bit? Just to kind of join in and do some talking. I want to hear your insights of what your thoughts are about the GFS model run. We're over here speculating like not like little kids, but like our brains are like, what is this going to do, right? Is this going to actually develop, or is it not going to develop at all? Or, I mean, yeah. Oh, did Ethan call me? No, he didn't. Also, I don't rarely... Oh, good to know. I just got called out by James Spann on... Gosh, I am seriously tired of people literally going after me for something. Literally, I'm really sick and tired of it. When in reality, this is still a possibility. So... Oh, okay. So you're not available tonight. That's fine. All right. So the Euro is going to be out here in about 20 minutes. In about 20 minutes, we are going to get the European model out. But this is what the system is looking like right now. So just a general rundown. It does not look to be, again, a big deal for the Windward Islands this go around. That's a good thing. Just maybe some heavy rain, some gusty winds is all you're going to see. But once this gets near perhaps Jamaica, this could do something a little interesting. And then once it gets really close to the Yucatan, officially this does not make landfall on the Yucatan Peninsula. This could really get nasty once it gets into the Gulf. So that's the general rundown that we are seeing on our European model. Or our GFS model, excuse me. Which, by the way, that was not the first time I was called out by James Spann. Which, by the way, why would he call me out 2 days later when that video is like almost... Actually, it's not 2 days old. It's like a day old, a little over a day old. I mean, weather changes. Weather changes. So, James, if you're here watching this, please do not call me out again, because I will be happy to hit the REPORT button. So, yeah. I will defend myself. I really will. So, because I'll tell you, there's other people that do it a little bit worse than me. I promise you that right now. Looks like we got another system developing out there. Another system on the GFS. I know it's fantasy land, but boy, It's, you know what I mean. It is September after all. And that's why we really have to watch these things. Where did the East Pac system come from? Well, from a tropical wave that originated from Africa, but it waited until it got into the East Pacific. Oh, really, Mindy? Well, Austin, because you want to see what TRG actually sent? You really want to see? TRG told me on Discord, you just got called out by James Spann. LOL. Interesting, he only called out my channel, but no one else. No one else. I wonder why that is. So, 20 minutes before the model comes out. Kristen on fire tonight. They should just wing it. By the way, AR on from Tracy. How are you doing? How are you doing? Yeah, that is that tropical wave off Africa. Right now, that GFS has for that fantasy storm. Yeah, for right now, it's a fantasy storm. Because on the last run, it was not there on the last run. So that is a fantasy storm. Fantasyland GFS. Oh, so he did call out for other people. All right. David is number 1. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Papa. See, that's my concern right there. That is what I worry about. As I get bigger, people are going to start doing that on Twitter. But come on. I mean, that was like 5 model runs ago. David is number 1 million. Oh, thank you. By the way, TRG, it's an honor that you're here watching my stream. I wish I could have time like you to stream the severe weather. Boy, you stream every day. I wish I was like you, where I had that time to stream every day on the severe weather. I wonder how you are able to do that though, like almost every day. So, yeah. So European is gonna start rendering in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes to rendering time. European is in our lineup. Here we go, Euro. Which, by the way, I did forget to show you all the rainfall totals with this disturbance. So, of course, on the European ensemble, you're looking at still on the range of about 1 inch to a couple of inches. Over the northeastern Caribbean, some of these islands like the windwards could still get up to about 2 inches of rain, especially when you get that easterly flow, that upslope flow. You get the best chances of rainfall. Leeward sides, you're not going to get as much because the air sinks. But over here, you're getting more heavier rain chances according to the European ensemble forecast. And then this goes all the way into, say, portions there of Central America. Not really Central America, but near the equatorial area of Belize, as well as the Yucatan, where you might get a few extra inches. Wow, what a great question. Could the hurricane down there form a tornado? Probably water spouts, but when it comes on shore, tornadoes, potentially. Mardell, Barrow, morning, David. You are one of the best weathermen out there. Is Barbados going to be impacted from this weather system, and will it be a storm or just a wave? Wave, my guy. It's going to be a tropical wave, not a tropical storm or a tropical depression. At this point, I can simply say it's not going to be a tropical depression at all. This is a 0Z GFS. And you can see right here, you're in the Barbados. So you're way down here on this map. I want to make sure I'm using the right sector on my screen. Yes, so I need to switch it. There we go. So you can see Barbados, you're getting southeasterly flow, but on the previous run on the 18Z, the death run, we call it, the fake run, the fake news run, well, at this point in time, it was really aggressive on the system. But in the long term, it was done pretty good because our 0Z has shown the same thing. But over Barbados on the 18Z run had that center near you. Now this run a lot further to the north. And of course, you'd be getting some wind. Winds of about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Nothing too obnoxious, nothing too significant. But yeah, it's going to kind of disrupt a little bit of your weather. Also, if you guys are interested in participating in the Weather Force Discord server, I have barely had time to actually talk in there recently, just because of me talking on the tropics. You guys could join that server if you wish. If you wish. Making our own personal Twitter page, in other words. Euro's on crack. Wait, why is it on crack? Because it's rendering? Is it rendering right now? Don't tell me it's rendering already. I swear, if it's rendering, it's a little early tonight. Nope, not rendering. Not rendering yet. Hey, welcome, TRG. Since you are a YouTube moderator, I am going to give you something a little special. There you go. Boy, we got 3 tornado members. Each person that joined since 8:42 has their name Tornado. Tornado Master 6, TRG Tornado. Actually, yeah, Tornado 2020 joined earlier. So, and Lucky Gamer 123, but you can call him a Tornado as well. That's 4 Tornado members. So we're waiting for our 0Z run. That will come out here in about 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes precisely. It's 10:18. It is 5:19 Zulu right now. 5:19 Zulu. Tornado outbreak in my server. That's funny. No, there's no tornado outbreak in my server. So, oh, you're Tornado Master 6. Okay, Joseph Vlogs. You're Tornado Master 6. Nice. EF4 hits David's server. Oh my. Oh, by the way, Aaron, are you ready for the 105-degree weather this coming week? for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yeah, summer isn't over yet. And we are going to be in September here in less than 2 hours. I should do my September dance, but I'm not going to because I'll be ending the stream already. I cannot believe it's September, folks. I just cannot believe we're actually entering September. I feel like just 3 days ago it was June. It was June 1st. Really, I mean, time has flown by. Not really, Captain. There's a mixed signal of it. I think we will get some kind of a depression or storm out of this. Right now, based on the inconsistency, I'm a little bit more skittish. My most bullish forecast calls this to become at least a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm in at least the next 10 days. 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm. I'm being really generous because there's inconsistencies. There really is. So I won't, Austin. I won't. I will try to keep my nerves steel. We will start rendering here in about 4 minutes. And I mean it this time, 4 minutes and counting. Actually, let's bring up Snaz. See if Snaz actually works on here. Is Snaz even running? Oh, there it is. All right. So I need to start running Snaz really quickly. The countdown shall begin. So let's count down to the 31st. So this run should start running in about there. So let me see. I need to get the GTI file out. GDI, I should say. So GDI, let's get the GDI. And then run it, read from file, and then we will be able to hope I could copy to clipboard. There we go. Perfect. So that is our countdown right there. But I need to make sure we are able to darken the So that is the next Euro model that's coming out here in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Countdown to the Euro. Oh, wait. I sped through it. Euro's already beating me to the countdown. It's already rendering. It already is coming in. 0Z is now rendering. What does our 0Z say? Wow, that really did go north. Let's see. No, it didn't. Never mind. It's a little weaker. It's a little weaker on this run. Wait, hold on a second. Is it? About the same. It's about the same. Not any stronger. It's a little further south, though, just by a hair. Just by a hair right now. Again, our vorticity is telling us that right now. Interesting that the GFS has a stronger vort max. Stronger vorticity versus our Euro is not so much on that. Schlotty is king. Thank you. So we are now getting our run in. Of course, this is going to take another 4 or 5 minutes to really start rendering. So this is the latest image. And what I'm looking for is I'm going to compare different runs. So I'm going to look at the 0Z from 12Z. So this is a 12-hour forecast. And we're looking at what our vorticity looks like here. And then I'm going to look at our 0Z right now. And I'm going to compare that. And it looks like it's a little bit to the southwest. A little bit to the southwest. Kitsamari, I do not know. Euro is going to be more generous for many reasons. But it is rendering. And this will be done rendering by 10:45 tonight. The models isn't going to get a grip on the wave until it gets a center of circulation. That's why I look at the models, but I don't really take into consideration. So Greg, since you're here, all right, since you're here and since you're pretty active, I will give you a little surprise. Okay, I do have a little bit of a question. Okay, simple question. Since you are pretty much an expertise in all of this, is the Euro seeing it better though? Because look at, let me just show you, let me just tell you. I know you're probably like, oh, no, stop, David. Okay. So my big question is the Euro seeing it better than the GFS? Or, okay, I'm looking at initial conditions, by the way. Okay, initial conditions are going to be important here. So, is the Euro, oops, here it is. Here is a Canadian model down here. This is a Canadian. Here's a Euro, and here's a GFS. So my question is the Euro handling this better than the GFS, or is the GFS handling it better than the Euro? So that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Because honestly, the Euro is, vorticity-wise, it seems like the Euro is not showing it as aggressively. What's up, Poxis? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Again, Dane, please don't be scared. There's nothing to be afraid of. This is not developing into something big yet. It's not. But Greg D, I asked you a question. I hope you could acknowledge my question. I think both is struggling with it, but the GFS, in my opinion, is a bit more realistic. All right, how so? Now, we're doing the one-step question here, questionnaire. So, you said the GFS is realistic. How is it more realistic than the Euro? That's also another question. If the GFS, again, is more realistic, how's the Euro not realistic? Not as realistic. And that's why we look at these vorticity plots, these products, the spin. Again, we're looking at spin, folks. I'm using my finger here to illustrate that. We're looking at spin, how much vorticity there is at the 5,000 foot level. Initial conditions, the initialization of the data that is being fed into these models, then we simulate what might happen. So that is why this is important. We got to look at the starting point And if it's a little weaker on this run, then what could that mean down the road, right? Okay, it's a little more a little more realistic because I'm looking at radar images and it's a little more structured than what both showing. Okay. So so it's more structured than both models. So maybe it's producing more deeper convection. I'm looking at radar right now, and I want to see this while we're waiting for our run to come in. This is what it looks like right now on the model. Right now, Greg D54. This is what it looks like on the satellite imagery, not on a model. But you can see what it looks like. So interesting if the Euro is not picking this up very well. It hasn't done good at all since last night. It's still struggling, but it's producing more convection, but it definitely doesn't have a dominant low. Oh, I know that. I know that for sure. See, is it stronger than the 12Z? No, it's not. It's weaker. It's actually weaker on this. Oh, no, wait. No, never mind. It's not. It's stronger. It's stronger by a little bit. There's a little bit more of a concentration there, down there to the south. And I don't know, Greg D, if you have a Discord. Boy, I would love to talk to you all about this, since you are the expert. I can't believe it. I'm actually talking to an expert here. But that's what it looks like right now on the model. It's definitely further south, though, in this model, in this forecast. Hey, Ethan, since you're watching this stream, what are your thoughts about the GFS versus the Euro? Because, boy, Ethan, did you see the GFS, the latest GFS model in the Gulf of Mexico? I mean, look how strong this gets, Ethan, in the Gulf. You got to look at that. I mean, boy, oh boy. So just a quick look at that. Okay, new frame came in. What's up, James? You have the same message. Looks closer to Barbados on this run. Potentially closer, yes. The vorticity plot is a little bit further north, though. Interesting. It goes a little further north on this run. So we're going to now move it forward into the Caribbean. Really interesting that this is really, it's way over here. It's way over here, nearing Puerto Rico, where that little wave is. I'm not all convinced that it would get that strong. Makes perfect sense, Greg D. That's why I'm not jumping the gun yet. I'm not calling this a hurricane. I really am not. Just because there's a lot of uncertainty, especially when it gets into the northwestern Caribbean. But we're going to really watch these models. But the Euro has it less defined on this one. So in reality, this looks a little weaker on the Euro. Not as defined. Not as defined. Yep, to iterate with I talked about earlier. The further north it goes, or the stronger it gets, the further north it goes. Correct. Also, if you guys are new, hit the subscribe button. I will be right back in just a split second. I do need to get some water. My mouth is getting dry, but I will be right back. All right, I am back. Ooh, that's some good well water. Yes, we have a well, and I drink water from the well. So, yeah, this is really looking less defined on the Euro. Not as defined as it was. Each model run, it's getting more defined. Very impressed by that. Really impressed. David, make a poll to see who thinks it will. Okay, let's make a poll. All right, let's start a poll. Okay. So let me see. Okay. To see who thinks it'll. Do you think? How strong do you think this tropical wave will get? All right, and I'll just put, let's see. I'll put tropical depression as the lowest. Tropical depression. Tropical storm. And then we'll add another one. Cat 1 hurricane. Cat 1 hurricane. And then we'll put another one. Interaction time with the audience. Thank you, Chase, for that. Cat 2 hurricane. I can only put 4 in there. Maybe we'll put Cat 2, Cat 1, 2 hurricane, then Cat 3 or 4. We're not going to put Cat 5. No, that's not going to happen. So there. So the question is, how strong do you think this tropical wave will get? All right. And when you pick, if you think it's going to be a Cat 1, you're also, you can decide for yourself. Oh my gosh, we have 20 votes already. 25 votes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Vote if you haven't already. So, wow, 53% of the audience thinks it's going to be a Cat 3 to 4. Oh my goodness. And guess what? Think of it like this. These are weather models. So 58% of the ensembles from our viewers think this could become a major hurricane. Versus 4% think it's going to be a tropical depression. Man, why are people going 60% for a major hurricane? Come on. 54 votes. That is crazy. Thank you, Kristen. 57 votes. But here is the front wave of the disturbance down here. Right here, I'm circling it in black. That's where it's at right now, or on this model. It's, again, very loose, not very defined at all. Yeah, this is more of the conservative side, though. But we'll see. We are going to wait and see if this actually tries to make a run. If you haven't voted yet, please vote. Again, the question is, how strong do you think this tropical wave will get? All right. I know, Greg D. I know. But 61% of the audience says it's going to become a major hurricane. That's not me. I mean, if I would have voted, I would say probably a tropical storm. At least a low-grade tropical storm. Thank you, Elevator Tours by Rain Maves. This wave actually has 48 hours before we could actually cancel it out. Yeah, but the thing is, Greg, though, if we did look at the GFS, what if we may not be able to cancel it out? What if it gets over here, though, past Jamaica, and it still doesn't look good? Then we can maybe cancel it out at the time. But it is right here. Here is the disturbance. You can see the little bit of a notch here with the wind barbs. So there's a little bit of a wave axis right here on this model. $84 votes. Let's go, folks. Vote, vote, vote. We're up to 84 votes. 84 votes. All right, Kristen, that's your opinion. And that's, again, this is like on a ensemble forecast. Each member, you are the member of the model. Some of you are predicting a major hurricane. Some of you are predicting a tropical depression. Some of you are predicting a tropical storm. That's true, Greg, I know. Euro is really coming through fast. Okay, so this is where the Euro has it right here. Wow. Definitely not the GFS. Definitely not the GFS by any means. The GFS... However, though, the GFS had it similar, though. Had it kind of over here. And then it really spun up right there. So we'll see what the euro does. But it doesn't look like it's going to do anything. It's not. Oh, thank you, Mr. Papa. New NHC AOI? What? I wonder if it's the same. Is this the same area, TRG, that they had on earlier this morning? Or is this an actual whole different area? Nope, they're keeping it at 40%. They're keeping this area at 40%. Still 20% in the Gulf. But we're going to have to watch this one. Boy, it's going to be active. Still active. TRG. Okay. It's the same area, David. That's interesting. They took off it and then they put it back on. NHC. Oh, yeah. Euro is not having this at all. I'm not even going to look at the rest of the Euro model. It's gone. It doesn't have it at all. That's your tropical disturbance. That's all you get out of the Euro. Nothing on the Euro. Nothing, nothing, nothing. I mean, look at that. Actually, that's even a weaker run. That run is even weaker than it was this morning. So this has downtrended continuously since last night. So this is not showing any development at all on this run. So I don't know which one is more realistic at this point, if it's a GFS or what. Yeah, there's that area on the Euro that does have that. That's not going to hit land, though. But that's the same system that the GFS is indicating, but it goes further west. Oh, wow. Was that a major hurricane that I just saw on the GFS? What the heck? I don't think we're done yet. Never mind. Another hurricane out there. Well, Fantasyland. I warn you all, Fantasyland. Don't take it seriously. Don't take it seriously, Fantasyland. That's another system to really watch, though. That really is. We got to watch that one. Yeah, that's a 968, 966 millibar system, according to the GFS. Because if we go back and look, you can see what it does right there. It's good. Yeah, it's a fish storm for right now. It's a fish storm for right now. It's only on one model run, so we'll just wait. Let's not assume that's even a fish storm, please, because we don't even know yet. We don't know. So, Greg D, you're probably referring to the tropical wave. So why is the Euro, and I want to ask you this question, why is the Euro consistently having a hard time developing this system versus the Canadian, the GFS model? Because the Canadian model does have a system here. See that? It does have a system there, and the GFS has a system eventually, but later. So I'm trying to figure this out, why the Euro, what the Euro is doing about it. I know that's way too far out. I know. But see, this is what I do to look at the signal out there, way out there in time. Is there more behind this one system? And so that's why we use these products. You know what though? The really quickly the Western Pacific is going to go crazy on these systems. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, GFS. Oh my goodness. Look at this. I mean, look at how crazy the GFS gets. Which, by the way, that is a 924, 917, 916 millibar system right there. 916 millibar system on the GFS in the Western Pacific. Wow, they are going to have a lot of development. Yee, gollyward. So the Euro, not so friendly on our system at all versus the GFS otherwise. Yeah, the Western Pacific is a nightmare. It doesn't go very far out, but it's very reliable. So the Jim, the naval model you're saying, right? Yeah, it only goes out to 144 hours. Actually goes out to 180 in its 12Z and 0Z model outputs. So, see how it looks for the Western Pacific, though. That's going crazy over there with those systems. It really is. The GFS, like I said, it's going berserk. Going berserko. It's the nightmare model. Boy, that would be a violent typhoon hitting Japan if that actually panned out. All right, Greg. But Greg, yeah, thank you for your input. So one last thing, I will ask the same question again. What model should I rely on more on average, the Euro, the Canadian, or the GFS? It's a tightrope. 2 GFS model runs show a tropical storm or hurricane in the Gulf versus the Euro model not showing anything. That is as hard of a forecast you can go. It's like a 50-50 win right now. Oh, NavGym is based in Japan. Okay. So I just don't know. It is a very frustrating forecast, I'm telling you. Really frustrating. I want to see what our SOI looks like really quickly, though. I always like to check that SOI for today. See if that gone up even more. Wow, that really did. Oh, that didn't even update yet. The data didn't come in from last night. All right, the GFS. So due to the fact, okay, I'm not fear-mongering. I don't want to wish anything. All right, please understand that, folks. So based on what Greg D says, the GFS is a little bit more realistic. because of the atmosphere, real-time atmosphere conditions in the equation. All right. So, and because the NHC is still hanging on to that 40%, the GFS here, unfortunately, could be more reliable. It might be onto something. It could be onto something really significant. But again, I would guarantee you guys, I would bet you $50 that the 06Z run does not have anything on it. I am going to assume, so I'm not overhyping, so I'm not freaking you all out. I am going to place my prediction that the 06Z GFS will not have anything on it, or even the 12Z run. All right, that is going to be my fail-safe scenario. I predict the next two model runs may not have anything on it. Okay? That is my prediction. But all models, regardless, struggle outside of the 72-hour range. I know a lot of people don't like that, but it's realistic. All right. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Next weekend, Chris, in Connecticut. So I'm going to head off here really soon because I need to get into the shower. And then I need to get to bed because I have church in the morning. Yes, church on Sunday. But I don't have work tomorrow, so I will have a video out tomorrow if the trends continue like this. If the model trends are this aggressive, then we are going to still have to talk about it. Even if they're not, we might do a video. But for Connecticut, though, definitely on the chillier side. A cool down is coming as that cooler air comes in out of the north. Unlike other people say an Arctic outbreak is coming. No, it's not. No Arctic outbreak is coming. And temperatures are going to be on the cooler side, though. Yeah, that's why I look at radar images and satellite imagery. You saw that we look at satellite imagery. I'm really watching this closely. Really watching it, Grady, to see what happens. To actually see what happens. James, what are you boy, you just like to say waffle, 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 waffle. I can call you a waffle then. How about that? James the Waffle. James the Waffle. The models will be aggressive then the next day. They don't because it's still far out right now, of course. The jet stream's going to dip southward, Chris. That's why. All right. Any last questions? Any last questions? Another couple of minutes. Another couple of minutes since we looked over our models. Oh, our GEFS ensemble is probably in. I wanted to show that really quickly. Then I'm going to skedaddle and get out of here and go to and take a shower. So, yeah, the YouTuber here has to get cleaned up. Ah, interesting. Less members on this. Less members on this ensemble forecast. The 18Z run had a lot more aggression. So less model support in this cycle. At least in the first 186 hours out. We'll see what happens though. All right. Thank you for tuning in, Greg D. Love you a lot, and I appreciate your time. Also, anybody that is still watching, share, like, and subscribe before I head out. Hit the subscribe button, folks. We are less than 100 subs away from 26K. So thank you all. Thank you all for that. What does the Canadian show? The Canadian right now doesn't show, it does show something developing in the Caribbean, but not as aggressive as the actually a little more aggressive than the GFS, but it doesn't move into the Central Gulf. You can see it right here. There is your system. So if we go back, there it goes. It's trekking across the Caribbean, moves into Jamaica, near Jamaica, and then moves into the Yucatan in the next 5 days, and then reemerges out into the Gulf of Mexico to where it has a chance of developing. Thank you for tuning in, Ethan B. Oh, wait, no. Oh, I thought Ethan was headed out. Oh, yeah, that's Greg D saying have a good night to Ethan B. All right. You're very welcome, Montelic Gnome. I do appreciate that. I've been watching this for a while playing solitaire. Thank you, Jeff. Playing solitaire, that must be fun. Solitaire on the computer or probably on the table, I'm assuming. Play the Euro. Okay, I will play the Euro. Yeah, see the Euro? There it is. There's your disturbance right there. Nothing at all. Nothing. Yeah, there's nothing at all on this. The Euro has nothing. Yeah, I know, Joshua. All right. Well, as always, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in to tonight's live stream on the latest update on the tropics, you guys. You guys are really awesome. I love you guys a lot. And I will have an update tomorrow afternoon. We're going to hopefully be back to our normal schedule here for the rest of the week where I do my afternoon updates. And then if needed, if something is really going to pop up with aggression, I would add on a second video, and that would be done in the morning hours, similar to this morning's video that I did on the 31st. So, as always, have a great night, folks. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button and hit the notification bell so you get all my updates, including videos, streams, blog posts, and shorts feed. Yes, I'm trying to add a little bit more shorts into the mix here on the channel, so you don't want to miss any of those updates. As always, I'm signing out for the night, and I'll be back with you more on the first day of September on Sunday in the afternoon. As always, take care, folks. Love you guys.